Welcome to the Foxtrot Uniform Podcast, where we dive into military history with not only the veterans who lived it, but also the often overlooked experiences and sacrifices of military families. Find us on all your favorite platforms. Link tree in the description. Let's go! Hey, and welcome to another episode of the FU Podcast. This is Turbo. Today we're going to talk about the picture that I posted up on Facebook and and give you kind of an update of things to come. If you're watching on YouTube, I apologize for all the vibrations of the camera feed. There's not really much I can do about that right now, being as I'm doing this on the road. Um, but anyways, so back to the story of the picture. If you haven't seen that picture, it's me wearing PTs, me wearing PTs with a big old grin on my face, holding up this large, key cut out of metal, and so the way that come about is when I was in Iraq. I was a hand receipt holder. I was in control of what we called the SATS trailer and a bunch of other shit. Anyway, I go on R&R, go hang out with my family, my girlfriend at the time, do all that fun stuff, spend 2 weeks at home. My mom drops me off at the airport when it's time to go back, and as soon as I board the plane, I realize, oh shit, I left my keys in the center console of the truck. Now, why I had those keys with me, man, I don't know. Like, there was no reason to have those keys with me. I should have left them there in my footlocker or something. But I didn't, so whatever. Get back to Iraq, tell my NCOs what happened. They give me their little smoke session. Things are good, go back to work. Everything's all right. Well, a day or so later, I don't remember the time frame on this, but one of my NCOs, I call him Sergeant D. This dude was hilarious. Good NCO too. But anyway, he goes over to the weld shop and he gets those guys to take a piece of plate steel and cut me out a key and put a chain on it for a key ring. Brings it to me and pretty much has me wear it around for, I don't know, a couple days, a week, something like that. And I pretty much, hey, I bet you won't leave your keys next time, will you? Yeah, so there's that story. Sergeant D was a good guy. He didn't really get along the best, but just because I guess it was just because our attitudes clashed too much. But he was a good dude. He was very smart. He knew his job well. Uh, yeah. So anyway, there's that story. So for the update on the podcast, I've got a Navy vet lined up to have an interview, and she's going to tell us her story. And then I've also got some of my family members lined up to tell the story of Grandpa John. Um, so we're going to break this episode up into two parts. We're going to go through the life of Grandpa John, when, how, and why he joined the Army and the Air Force. What we're able to tell about what he did in Vietnam. There's things that we're probably not going to know. There's probably things that we can't tell. Just looking through his records, there are some things that are redacted, so we're not really. I've got to go through it and find out what actually we can tell. What is there for us to dig through. But anyway, we're gonna tell Grandpa John's story, and in the second part, I want to dive into what it was like for my mother-in-law to know that her father was in Vietnam, and everything after that, how it affected her, and pretty much want to tell the story of Grandpa John and his viewpoint, and then also the viewpoint from his family members. I want to hear what my wife and my brother-in-law and their uncle, my father-in-law, I want to hear everything they can tell about this man, because from what I've heard about him already, he was a great guy, and I want to hear about how he impacted their lives, how they thought about his military service, good and bad, and I want to share that story, just like I want to share everybody's stories. A lot of times, vets, even service members, won't sit down and tell their family what they experienced, because they feel like they need to keep that away, keep that held in tight, because their family members won't understand. So what I'm hoping is that I can interview service members and veterans, and I can get them to tell me their story and record it and post it as a podcast and a YouTube video, with the hopes that now their family members can get a better understanding of who they are and what all they experienced. Um, and on the other side of that coin, I also want to hear from the family what it was like for them to go through it on their viewpoint, and how they feel about their veteran and everything that they did, and how it still affects them to this day, um, the time of military service. So if you're a veteran or a veteran family member and you want to connect and tell these stories, please reach out to me. FUpodcast.life. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Foxtrot Uniform on Facebook. Let's connect. Let's get these stories told. A lot of times, all we hear about are the extravagant stories from the Medal of Honor recipients. No shade thrown, because those stories absolutely need to be told, but so does everybody else's. And I think a lot of the times, what we miss in this conversation is the story of the family. And I really want to explore that. And on top of sharing the stories of veterans and their families, I also want to explore various things in military history. I'm a huge World War II buff, so more than likely I have a couple of episodes based on battles during World War II. No, I won't get all the information correct, because there's just shit that I don't know, and there's stuff that I don't remember. But I'll absolutely do my best to put in all the research I can before I have an episode. That way I can give you the most accurate information possible. Uh, yeah, so it's a short episode, guys. I know it's not that long, and I apologize. But if you want to connect, reach out. I'd love to tell your story. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If you're local to Helena, Montana, hit me up. I would love to do this in person. I'd love to go down to the DFW or anywhere, grab a beer, and have a conversation about your time in service, and just talk. Um, Whether we do a podcast or not, just talk and have fun. Anyway, Turbo out. Peace.